Alliance War attackers of the Mystic class. So 10th is Diablo, easy access to the poison damage, which is honestly pretty rare. He's poison immune, meaning that he doesn't take any damage from it. He can nullify with his specials. He can become armor break or stun immune with his specials, and he has 70% energy healing with his specials. This is all like a little aura after his special attacks of varying lengths. The auras of varying lengths based on the special thrown. And also his poison can actually become passive if you have the Kingpin synergy. There are a couple other champions in that synergy, but they're all trash. So I think there's Doc Ock actually who's decent. But just generally, he's just like, he does poison and he doesn't take damage from poison, so he's great in those matchups. In 9th, you have Magik. She's only a 5-star, which kind of hurts her. Pretty standard, though. Everybody knows about this. Insane power control. Those are the statistics. Because the special 2 is 2 hits, there's only a 2% chance not to power lock on at least one. She mitigates a lot of damage with her limbo as well, and she can nullify on the SP1. I think she can also nullify on the SP3, although I could be wrong. It might just do damage based on hits. 8th is Wiccan. You have a neutralize. It has to be a medium light combo, but you can neutralize. He's immune to reverse controls and armor break. He can block unblockables, and only if he is awakened and has his resistance up mechanic, which is dashing back and holding block. He has shock damage on the SP2, incinerate damage when a neutralize fills a buff, and yeah, pretty standard. He's like a poor man's Rintrah or Tigra. 7th is Longshot, massive damage on the SP2 with incinerates. He also fate seals there, but they have to be incineratable for that to happen. He's immune to ability accuracy reduction and has a massively increased base ability accuracy rate. He can automatically nullify. Honestly, sometimes that's more annoying than good. Good on defense, though. Power Steal and instant bleeds in Special 1 Pure of Heart. So pretty standard there. 6th, we have Hood. Massive burst damage, mediums, and heavy. So you do the mediums to put on the bullets. A heavy doubles the amount of damage the detonation would be if it were to normally expire. So it does twice as much. So you want to do mediums. It refreshes every time you put a new bullet, and then you heavy to detonate them. Fate Seal on the SP2, a lot of people don't know this. When the Fate Seal's up, they actually have 65% reduced ability accuracy rate. The opponent, whoever's Fate Sealed. When you crit the opponent, you put a stagger. It's non-stacking, though. You have the phase miss mechanic, which starts at 120%. Every time you miss a hit, it goes down by 20%, so you can miss 2 hits guaranteed, and then after that it gets a little bit iffy. Power Steal when you are awakened, and also in invisibility, so it has to be both. And stun immune when you're awakened, and in invisibility, because the awakened ability basically gives you additional benefits when invisible, as you can probably surmise. 5th is Clairvoyant. She has toggled triple immunities, bleed, poison, incinerate. You switch with a light ender. That could be any type of combo that ends with a 4th light attack. Can give the opponent buff immunity on SP2, which is essentially like the 3rd way of removing buffs after like nullify and neutralize. So it's unique and very hard to counteract, and so that makes it very potent. She has nullify on basic attacks that are non-heavies. 100% chance, but it costs a clairvoyance charge. She starts with 3 of those. She has DOT on command, but the damage isn't really that good. She has a lot of power gain from getting a clairvoyance charge when she's immune to something, or when the opponent is immune to something. And MD works really well because what you can do is you can do a heavy if, say, they're immune to bleed and you're in bleed mode, and you get 12% max power, and then you can use those charges, nullify buffs, and you get even more power. So it allows you to really cycle special attacks. Her special 2 does different things based on the modes. Plague is obviously bleed immune. Well, Plague is poison immune. Blood is bleed immune, obviously. And Hellfire is incinerate immune, and also that also reflects the type of damage over time she does on the medium ender and heavy, and that is what the special 2 does, which is her primary special attack. 4th is Rintrah. He has this really good neutralize, and it's extra potent versus Cosmic, so that allows you to do steady build-up unblockable. His special 2 hits really hard. He has lots of rupture damage, but mainly when rooted is how you get a lot of your ruptures. I don't really use this champion much, so I'm not as sure. He's stun immune at 15 charges, unblockable specials at 10, 20% critical resistance, and actually energy resistance, which I didn't really know. And when he's awakened, he regenerates from hits blocked and received when rooted, which is really cool. And he has power gain, but this is, on a Sig, it's kind of bad, honestly, because you want to get in the corner and root them and yourself, or root yourself, not them, and then hit them a bunch, and neutralizing a bunch of buffs and giving yourself power gets you to a special 2 too fast, so it's not that good. Good on defense again. 3rd is Absorbing Man, massive resistance, roughly 80% resistance to energy or physical, depending on your form. It's called an omnimorph form. He has a bunch of immunities, again, based on form, but he's always immune to armor break. And he has a bunch of burst damage. On crits, when refined, when you crit, it will do approximately 4 times damage, the burst damage will, and it gets to hit pretty hard. He reduces the buff duration of specific buffs as listed below, and those are some of the more annoying ones, especially Unstoppable and Indestructible. You're going to see a lot of use. He has critical resistance, which is cool if you get hit, but he also crits a lot. So you can look at this. If the first hit of the heavy lands in stun, it's 1800 extra crit rate. Out of stun, 19,800. And if you throw a special from that first hit landing of your heavy, the entire special will have that critical rating bonus. Second is Tigra. I love Tigra. If you can play her perfectly, she's probably number 1, but number 1 is so safe, and you'll see, and you probably know who it is. But Tigra has this neutralize that's very easy to access. Absolutely insane damage, easily the best damage dealer in the Mystic class, and one of the best in the entire game. Based on the ruptures, her special 2 and heavies. She has special damage mitigation because she just misses specials. It's pretty standard. Unblockable specials based on distance, so that helps for something like auto block. She can actually do someone like Penny Parker or MODOK. Would I suggest it? Not necessarily, but she can do them if you have to. And she has a lot of power gain too if you have the Huntress Sense up every time you miss or put a rupture on the opponent. So it basically just nukes stuff and has a unique method of buff mitigation. First is obviously Dr. Doom. He has a very potent controllable damage cycle, which is the Doom cycle. Throws special 3 when they have 2 or more bars of power roughly. Medium, 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 light, medium. Into triple light, double medium, special 1. And then you can reparry and throw another special 3 basically permanently. You'd have to reparry and do a combo ending in a heavy. I mean, we all know this rotation probably. You can power steal with lights when you're an aura and special 1. You can stagger on the heavy, which is especially helpful when you combine it with the fact that you can passive stun someone when they're shocked just by charging your heavy. So allows really easy heavies. You can nullify on the aura. The special 1, actually, I didn't put that. Special 1 nullifies 1 of each buff on the beam. That's 3 total. And in aura, any contact has a 30% chance of nullifying a buff. He's also shock and armor break immune. He has 37% critical resistance and a lot of armor, so those work together, and he incinerates on the special 2. So that's the Mystic class, a very confusing and complex class, but has a lot to offer. You can see that with the advent of Clairvoyant, Rintrah, Absorbing Man, and Tigra, you're starting to see this, and Wiccan, you're starting to see this huge influx of Mystic champions that don't nullify, but instead mitigate buffs a different way, because Claire nullifies, but she also does other stuff. But there are people that are immune to that stuff, and that's becoming a lot more common. There are people immune to buffs, and so you have these different methods of mitigation that are starting to come into play, because Mystic is supposed to be the controller of buffs, and so you're seeing the Mystic class adapt that way. And so because of the nature of that, having someone like Tigra or Rintrah, but also having a Doom, a Clairvoyant, a Longshot, or a Hood is very helpful, because sometimes you have to have one or the other, and not necessarily just any type of buff control at once. So I hope this was informative, and let me know if I missed anybody, or if I messed anything up, or if you just have a different opinion. But thank you so much for watching.